All right. Good morning yet again. As we think about the relationship of people to the governments in which they live, it's always a good thing to be skeptical, to be questioning, to be doubting. As Michael Bakunin, the Russian anarchist, said, whenever the president of the North American Republic talks about the liberties of the people, you can be sure the sheep are about to be sheared. And this is good advice to remember as President Obama launches his war in Libya for liberty and justice and democracy and human rights. And of course, one wonders why these values cannot be upheld at home across the board from Wisconsin to Maine. Okay, as the Washington iconoclast Izzy Stone said, governments lie. So, keeping a healthy suspicion of governments and rulers is always a good thing. Emma Goldman, an American libertarian, if you will, said, always beware of great leaders, that people should always look to themselves and their own abilities rather than to inspired leaders from on high, a lesson she brought back from the Russian Revolution. Again, very wise words. But as I was watching the film Hotel Rwanda the other night, about the Rwanda genocide of 1994, where nearly 1 million were mass murdered, it struck me that this is the lengths to which libertarian philosophy will go if uncritically applied, as it asks us to be critical of government and leaders, but becomes an article of dogma in itself. It produces the same kind of amoral results that worship of state and government produces. This is how the rich white boy's first world philosophy plays out in the real world. In Rwanda, we saw all government restrictions, as well as the United Nations, were removed from the backs of the privileged, and they enjoyed the complete liberty to act out every sadistic impulse at the expense of their social and economic inferiors. It didn't really matter that the privileges were largely in their own mind. They had absolute freedom from gun control, as well as possession of most of the country's arms, and they used these arms to defend their liberty. Thus we see what happens to a society when all sense of community, all government regulations on the autonomy of the well-placed are removed, other lesser individuals are turned into cattle to be slaughtered. Rwanda in 1994 is a world of fringe elements in control in a bloody nutshell. How this is an improvement on the likes of Hitler and Stalin and Henry Kissinger escapes me. But this is the world of fringe elements, and as we can see, these elements are indeed best kept on the fringe because Allah have mercy when they are given full liberty of action. Now, would these fringe elements, figurative Hutus, actually take up machetes and slaughter with such gleeful mayhem and here in the US&A? Well, of course not. For all their anti-statism, they're still white boy enough to have residual morality left over from early Sunday school and secular civic education. But they would endorse the ethical, social, economic, political license that would accomplish the same, with as little gross bloodshed as possible, though as we saw in Chile, sometimes you do have to break eggs to make that 4-star gourmet omelet. Okay, their machetes wouldn't slash flesh, but the wages and social benefits of the many in the developed world, cutting them off from their ability to afford health, education, or basic legal justice. There will be no physical killing fields, one would hope, but bigger and, of course, privatized prisons to contain the destitute who endanger their privileges. The likes of Christie in New Jersey, of Walker in Wisconsin, of Kasich in Ohio, of Snyder in Michigan, of LePage in Maine. They are the political equivalent of Hutu hate-mongers. Their legion is the moral equivalent of machete-wielding Hutu slashers, looking for figurative Tutsis, liberals and statists and public employees next to put under their figurative long knives. So us figurative Tutsis better wake up. These people are out for you. Okay? That they have enough fear of state law and residual childhood morality not to machine gun your home and family doesn't mean they won't try to destroy you by civilized means. Do not let the fringe elements and their state allies now in power turn the U.S. into the political equivalent of Rwanda. And thank you for choosing YouTube as your form of communication.